Johnson. That's Justin. Today we're going to kind of go over some over-unders that we like in college football, just their season totals, just regular season. And then we're going to kind of talk about college football's toughest place to plays. And I might have to early on eat crow on some teams that I harped bad on just because I kind of read into them a little bit more. And it's June, so we got plenty of time to kind of go over what we like and don't like about certain teams still, and change our perspective. We're going to kind of start off with EA's top 25 toughest places to play. And I personally think this is kind of atrocious myself. I'll just kind of run through the list real quick, top to bottom. LSU is toughest place to play. That's whatever. Penn State, Ohio State, Georgia, Bama, Florida, Oklahoma, Oregon, Michigan, A&M, Tennessee, Texas, Florida State, Wisconsin, South Carolina, Auburn, Washington, Iowa, Utah, Notre Dame, NC State, Oklahoma State, Michigan State, and Mississippi State. Now, which one of those teams jump off at you, Justin?
I mean, there's a bunch of them. I mean, I'm just going to start at the top and kind of work my way down. I'm going to try to keep it as short as possible with a 25 list. You know what I mean? I think Penn State's ranked too high, personally. I know they have the whiteout, and it does get really rowdy. Like, don't get me wrong. But I think there's like some. I'm a big Menace to Sports fan. They do podcasts too. They're a little bit more unhinged than we are. So if you like a little more adult college football content when it comes to just off the wall predictions and stuff like that, I mean, you can go check them out. As well as us, obviously. Don't leave us and go watch them. But what I'm getting to is like I think in like the last 9 whiteouts, they're like 2-7. I think so. Like to me, toughest places to play that game. Because nobody really ever has, like, you don't hear of LSU having a yellow out or a purple out or Arkansas having a red out. Occasionally, once every while, they'll do like the checkerboard, kind of like
You do a
Tennessee
stripe
does.
out.
Yeah. So occasionally they'll do something like that. But when you think of like college football and you say, okay, this fan base is doing this color scheme, the first thing you think of is whiteout by Penn State. I mean, it's a game that me and you've talked about. Like, we don't care who they play. We want to go to that game just to experience it. But to me, if that's your marquee game of the season, it's a night game, and you're 2-7 in the last 9 years, like, is that really like, is that a tough place to play? I mean, I agree. I think it should be on the list, but I don't think it should be 2.
Well, and to your point, yeah, 2-7 is not good, and they do normally reserve that for biggest games. But to me, it's more of a debate of like, what do you value more from EA's standpoint? Do you value a great environment, a great atmosphere? Because the list name is toughest places to play. It doesn't say best atmospheres, best environments. It just says toughest place to play. Now, is that based on how good the team is? Because you could play Ohio State last year in the Walmart parking lot, and it's going to be tough. You could play Georgia last year in anywhere in the world, and it's going to be tough. So, like, it just kind of depends. I mean, what do you think? Because whenever I think of crazy environments, Tennessee being at 12 is absurd to me. Neyland is like consistently talked about as being like an oppressive place to play. Like you can feel the sound. I've never heard of Georgia being between the hedges at 4. Now, Georgia's won a lot of games in a row. So if that's what you're valuing, okay. They've won like 39 straight games. They haven't lost a home game since 2019, which, okay, that's a tough place to play. Is that because of the atmosphere? Or is that because Georgia is Georgia? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think that's why they kind of said it like that. Because what they didn't say these are the hardest places to play or these are the best atmospheres. Because like they did it for this right here, for discussion. Really. It gets you talking about college football, the game, and stuff like that. I'm kind of with you. Like it's a extremely vague, like, what does that mean? Like, toughest place to play. You could take Ohio State or Georgia or Alabama or Texas and go put them in, some podunk town in Arkansas at a high school stadium. It's going to be a tough place to play. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm kind of with you. Like, I mean, I think Florida's a little high. I mean, I know it's the swamp, but like, when's the last time it was just like Urban Meyer era?
I mean, they've had some intimidating. They've had some good teams where it's intimidating, but I get what you're saying. Like, or this is I mean, I know that they're at 25, so this is the 25th toughest place to play. But has Davis Wade ever been described as like this place that teams are just terrified to go? I've
Maybe
never heard
when
of. I've never heard of anyone being scared to go play in Starkville ever.
no. I
Now,
mean,
I've heard
and
of
here's
people
my
ready to get away from Starkville. Wasn't because of the stadium. Place is kind of
yeah.
a rough place to be. It's not very nice.
Yeah, I heard some cows flock there too. Don't they do the cowbells down there?
Yeah. Okay. So I went to a game last year in Starkville, watched Arkansas play Mississippi State, and it was loud, but it wasn't because of people or like crazy environments or like they didn't have a gamecock in a cage with all the towels going and they're playing Sandstorm. Like it wasn't like that. It was ding 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 ding.
Yeah.
Like I don't
Well,
know. I've never heard of Mississippi State being like a tough place to play. Like that's what jumped out to me. Even at 25, I was like, whoa.
Here's my next question: is Oklahoma State a tough place to play?
They get rowdy, right? Like I've seen some games at Oklahoma State where I'm like, okay, that looks like a great place to play. Like it looks like a fun environment, but like it's small, kind of.
Yeah.
So I don't.
Which
I mean, if you're
and
Oklahoma, if you're the Sooners, it probably is a tough place to go play a football game.
Yeah.
Or Kansas State, I don't imagine it's crazy.
Yeah, and another team that I think is extremely too low is Washington.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard now I've never been to a game there, so I'm kind of speaking from like what I've heard from other people or like kind of watching it online or watching it on TV. Washington, I've heard Washington's a really tough place to play. It's kind of got that Oregon type feel to it to where it's really closed in. Like it's extremely like it's the polar opposite of Michigan. Everybody says like Michigan, yeah, biggest. They're called the Big House for a reason. They hold the most. I think it's the biggest stadium in the United States.
It's in the world.
Yeah. So they hold 111,000 people, but it's built like a coliseum. So it's not like overly loud. Like if you get 110,000 people anywhere, yeah, it's going to be loud. But I've heard that Oregon and Washington, like the way that their stadiums are kind of built up, they're built for sound to just come into the stadium.
Mm-hmm.
Michigan's built to where it's almost like the sound goes out of the stadium.
And this is a great point that was just brought up in our YouTube chat by Dylan Spivey. It says, was Clemson included on the list? No.
I mean, no. Clemson's not on there.
Clemson's not on the list. I mean, you have Mississippi State, NC State, which I'm sure NC State gets loud, but come on. Iowa, I understand that Iowa has the wave. Iowa punts the ball 15 times a game. That place never gets rowdy.
Yeah.
Wisconsin does the jump around. But I've never heard of Camp Randall just being.
Now, I've heard that Camp Randall, when they have a good team, I've heard that they do get rowdy. I wouldn't have mind seeing them from like 20 to 25, but I do think 15's a little high when you have South Carolina right below them. I've never been to a game.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. That's a great point because South Carolina is notorious. You can watch it on TV and feel it.
Yeah, hey, Clemson's at 6. I don't know why we missed it.
On mine, Clemson's not ranked. And
on mine, Clemson's at 6.
Okay. So we may have got two different lists. But either way, okay. So the list I got, Clemson's not on it.
Okay.
But the list he's got, Clemson is ranked 6. So maybe it's not a complete atrocity. That's insane.
That's what I mean. That's what you run into. Because, I mean, both of ours say top 25, NCAA, 2020. I mean, that's why it's hard. I mean, that's why we need people to bear with us. Because everybody knows how AI is. You can see Donald Trump shaking hands with, Pablo Escobar. So just kind of battle with us. But, yeah, I have Clemson at 6 on mine. I don't know if this is the actual one. I don't see Clemson not being on there.
Well, and if you want a great example of what Clemson's going to be, we get to see it week 1. LSU's rolling in to Clemson, South Carolina, and you're going to see a crazy place. But that's crazy because most of our list. Oh, okay. They skipped Clemson on mine. It went from 6 to 8. And
Clemson, I see.
Okay, so that was the confusion. The list that I got just didn't include that one part.
Somebody was a Clemson hater.
Yeah. But no, I mean, for the most part, I think they got a lot of it right. Maybe
is
not
NC
where.
State is NC State.
I've never heard of NC State being that crazy. I mean, I can imagine it. I mean, okay, I'll say it like this: every major college football game I've ever been to in person has been loud. Like none of them have just been like quiet,
Yeah.
But there's some that stick out. Okay, to
like
me, Auburn's the best place I've ever been. Jordan-Hare in Auburn, Alabama is the best place I've ever been. Neyland is right behind it. I've been to LSU. LSU, to me, is overrated, but I don't know.
Hang on, let me make sure before I speak. Where's Virginia Tech?
See, I don't have Virginia Tech on my list either.
That's one of the most, it doesn't matter how bad Virginia Tech is. I want to go to a game just to hear, 80, however many people are in the stands, start singing Enter Sandman when they run out of the tunnel.
Another one. Okay, so I have Texas A&M at 11, and I have Notre Dame at 21. So so I'm just responding to the YouTube chat. So, it's like, yes, this stuff is kind of hard. I feel like hard for an EA to get exactly right. I mean, they're trying to span the whole country, but leaving Virginia Tech off is atrocious. That's a murder to me. I mean, that's a great place to watch a game. Every TikTok you see about like crazy environments includes the Enter Sandman walk, like you were saying. All the people in the military cadets or whatever going crazy. The Hokie out there. So, they're going to leave them off for a place like Michigan State and Mississippi State, apparently.
Yeah, and another thing, I mean, you see the shirt, you see the cargo. I'm a big, diehard Buckeyes fan. If you've been keeping up with us, But Ohio State is entirely too high. Entirely. Now, I'm gonna play a little devil's advocate with myself. They're too high because all they get is damn noon games. Like nobody's hype at noon. So I don't know where, kind of like you said, like, is it tough because it's Ohio State? And it is a big stadium. It's a huge stadium. It's not a pretty stadium. It's very historic. It needs a lot of renovations. It's like the 9th in the Big Ten in just stadium, renovations needed.
Amenities and stuff, yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know, like, did they just go to I think the 2 biggest games last year that Ohio State had at home was Indiana and Tennessee in the playoffs. Like, did somebody just go to those 2 games and say, oh my gosh, the horseshoe's rocking? It's like, well, yeah, no crap, it's rocking. It's a playoff game.
But I think we covered that. I mean, it's all we can cover. It's worth.
I mean, we could sit here and go through every team and say how it's wrong, but I think that's exactly why they came out with the list.
But the atrocities of EA and their rankings are just going to keep going and going and going.
Yeah.
They do it for clickbait. They do it for people to talk about like we are. Let's kind of get into our season totals, what we kind of like from a betting perspective. Now, understand that whenever we are talking about betting an over on a team, for example, I'll kind of get into my first one just so I can kind of set an example here.
Yeah.
I think Purdue's going to have a terrible season, okay? They're not going to be good. They play a pretty tough schedule. They got to play in the Big Ten. They got to play Notre Dame. So they're gonna struggle throughout the season, but they're over under total on DraftKings is what I just got this website pulled up that has everyone's. Their consensus over under right now is set at 2.5. Looking at Purdue's schedule, they play Ball State week 1. I'm gonna count that as a win. Southern Illinois week 2. That's 2 wins. Okay, it doesn't say that it has to be against great competition. 2 wins right there. So we just need one more on their Big Ten schedule. They do play Minnesota. They play Northwestern. They play Rutgers. They play. That's about it. That's the only games I could see them possibly having a chance of winning. All they have to do is win one game. And we've seen Purdue not have good teams and win games at their home stadium. So we're not saying that Purdue's going to be good. I don't think Purdue's going to be good. I think Purdue's going to have a very tough rebuilding year. They just fired their head coach, hired Barry Odom. They brought in a bunch of transfers. They lost their best D end. They lost all their key pieces from last year's team that could return and impact this year. But you just got to find one win. And this is a team that's going to have hype and momentum. They're playing for a new coach. Every time a team comes out with a new coach, if the new coach is decent at all, and Barry Odom is, they come out with some fire. So I would not be surprised to see this team win 3 games. I would hit that. Like, if I'm going to bet on this stuff, Purdue's going to be a team that I'm going to hit the over on. Who's one of your teams, Justin?
I really like sorry, I was on the wrong betting app. That's another thing. Since we're talking about odds, because I pulled up DraftKings, FanDuel. Yeah, I had FanDuel, and they had Purdue at 3.5. So make sure now, if 1-800-BET, whatever the betting hotline is, I don't want anybody to bet their whole house and truck and first paycheck on what we're saying. But, this is a prime example. Make sure you're looking at what what you're wanting to bet and do it through different websites. Because I had Purdue at 3.5 wins. You had them at 2.5. That's a big difference.
That is a big difference. Because I wouldn't take them to win 4 games.
No.
I would take them to win less than that. But I would take them to win 3.
Oh, yeah, for sure. 3 games, like you just said, like that. You got 3 out of conference games pretty much. Anyways, my first team, I'm just going to go ahead and start with them and get them out of the way. I'm a big Ohio State fan. I'm going to say they go over. It's not that they don't have a tough schedule, but they don't have an easy schedule. It's kind of right there in between. I think they're at is it an 11.5 games, Mason, or is it 10.5?
What was that? Sorry, I blanked out.
No, you're good. Ohio State's win percentage.
Win total?
Yeah, sorry.
What is it at?
That's what I was asking. What is it at?
Oh, give me 1 second. I'll have to scroll up.
No, you're good. I can talk about it. But it
is at 10.5.
10.5. Yeah. Me personally, I'm an Ohio State fan. I'm firing the over because I don't see them losing 2 games on their schedule. I just don't see it. Michigan's kind of got us in a chokehold right now. I think with Ryan Day doing what he did last year in the playoffs, I think that kind of got that monkey off his back. And Ryan Day's had the tendency in big games to coach with his rear end about this tight. And I feel like now that he's got that monkey off his back and he trusts his supporting staff around him. Now, these are big talks, but I feel like he's eventually going to I just don't see him losing to Michigan 5 times in a row. I said the same thing last year about him losing 4 times in a row. But I'm hoping that he don't do it again. So I think that's a win. They play, and I'm going backwards through this. They play Rutgers before that, UCLA, Purdue. They play Penn State midway through the season. That's a home game, November 1st.
But this is my question, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you think Ohio State is better this year than they were last year? You're talking about the national champions. Do you think Ohio State is going to be better? Are they going to be about this? The reason why I ask is because I see them regressing. Yeah, they got a lot of moving pieces on offense. They got a new quarterback, more importantly. And they play Texas, and then they play Penn State. They still got to play Michigan. Like you talked about, they've lost to Michigan 4 times in a row.
Yeah.
All they have to do is lose 2 of those games. They lost 2 games last year. You would have lost that bet, and they still would have won the national championship.
Yeah, it's one of those things to me to where, do I think they're going to be better? I think they could be the same team. The reason is because obviously I keep up with them more than probably 90% of the people that are listening to this, podcast. But Julian Sayin has never started a game, but from what I've heard, he's got that NFL arm. Now, that could either be good, or it could be one of those things to where it gets us in trouble because he's not confident enough in his eyes. I think they're going to be better. Personally, I said it. I think their offense is going to take a step up because Will Howard was good, but if you really watch the film, he wasn't. He was kind of like that. He's kind of like that Stetson Bennett kind of quarterback. Like he just was good for that program. He was good for Ohio State, but he wasn't some top 15 pick in the draft. And I think Julian Saint could be that. We got all three of our receivers back besides Emeka Egbuka. We got Brandon Ennis. Our defense, our two linebackers. I'll say this too. I'll go ahead and stamp it. I think our two linebackers are going to be the two best linebackers in the country. Personally, that's what I think.
I mean, and they could win 11 games. I mean, they do kind of play. This is going to hurt your feelings. They do play an easy schedule, in my opinion. Outside of 3 games, I don't think that they play a tough schedule. So I mean, they could win 11 games. It's just I don't know. I would be weary. I would not bet that personally. I wouldn't bet on it at all. A team that I kind of was. Oh, sorry. What were you going to?
No, you're good. And I was just going to get to the last big game. Was Texas. I mean, I'm kind of going backwards just because I started with Michigan because it's kind of that rival, anyways. Texas, like, here's my question to you, Mason, and I have Texas on my list too, so I'll probably get into this when I go over them. Everybody's saying that Arch Manning is a shoe-in, like first overall pick, Heisman winner, like all that. Like, I think they're going to be very good. Don't get me wrong. Like, I think their defense is going to be good. I think, their offensively, they do have weapons. But here's my question. If he's really that good, like they're talking about, why did he not play more last year? I think it was Steve Spurrier said it. If he's really what they say he is, why did he not replace a 6th-round Quinn Ewers towards the end of the season?
Well, and I think a big deal of that, just to give Arch some, just to give him some faith, I guess.
Yeah.
Quinn Ewers was the guy. I mean, he brought Texas back, essentially. I know everyone was so tired of hearing Texas is back, but Quinn Ewers brought him back. Now, it wasn't just Quinn Ewers. They had a lot of dogs, but Quinn Ewers was the guy. So, I mean, maybe to an extent it's loyalty, but it could also be that he just wasn't ready. I'm kind of with you on that. I mean, to me, if you're a shoe-in first overall pick, you would have no reason to sit, but maybe Sark felt differently. Before we get into Texas, I kind of want to talk about LSU. We got a LSU fan in our chat here. And LSU's over-under total that I see is 8.5, right? 8.5. Okay, and listen to the schedule. First week, they go to Clemson.
Loss.
Then they host Florida in week 3.
Loss.
Then they go to Oxford. That'll be a tough one. Then they host South Carolina.
Loss.
Then they play Vanderbilt on the road. Then they host Texas A&M, and then they go to Alabama. That might be 2 losses right there. We're already at what, 5?
Yeah, I'm giving them 1. I'm giving them 1-1. Texas. What'd you say? Texas A&M and Alabama.
Yeah,
I'm giving them 1-1.
And then they end the year with a trip to Norman, Oklahoma, to play the Sooners.
I'm big on the Boomer Sooners, baby. That's 5 losses on my end.
8.5. I think I'm taking the under on that. I mean, I don't know if I see 9 wins for this LSU team. Now, they could win 8 games, and that's not saying they're a bad team, because that is a pretty tough schedule. I mean, looking at it, if you really listen to this podcast week after week, teams that we have just ranted on about how much we like: Clemson, South Carolina, Florida, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
LSU cannot beat Alabama. It just doesn't happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just a bad schedule. And everyone has these huge, high expectations for Nussmeier. Nussmeier gets into a point, it feels like, in every big game where he feels like he has to be the guy, and then he makes the mistake, and then they lose the game. It's happened plenty of times now.
I think here's my thing with LSU. I think they're either boom or bust. They've always had a really good offense. Like, ever since Brian Kelly got there, they've had a good offense. I mean, last year, yeah, so it wasn't as good as Jaden Daniels, obviously, but like they did have a decent offense. So my thing is like, what if their defense comes along? I remember when Ohio, and I keep referring to them just because I know them inside and out for like the last 10 years. I remember when Ohio State's defense was dog crap. I mean, atrocious.
Many years of it.
Yeah, exactly. And all it took was Jim Knowles coming in. First year, we were like a top 15 defense. So it's like, can LSU make that jump? And nobody expected Ohio State to. I mean, we knew Jim Knowles was pretty good, but like, can LSU make that jump? I feel like if they make that jump, sky's the limit for them. I don't like them. I like Nussmeier, but I think what you said is a very valid point. But can they, are they going to be a boom team or are they going to be a bust team? That's the biggest question for LSU. I feel like that 8.5 win total, I feel like that's really good for Vegas because a lot of people are going to bet the over. A lot of people are going to bet the under. It's kind of like the casino rules. House always wins. Vegas is Vegas because they win. I feel like that's one of those lines. Like, I wouldn't feel comfortable betting either one, personally.
No, I mean, I wouldn't either because, like you were saying, if LSU goes and you're going to learn a lot about LSU, and it seems like this is every year for Brian Kelly's tenure there. Every year, week 1 has told you almost everything you needed to know about LSU. Because if you remember, year 1 of Brian Kelly, they played a really good Florida State team, and they made this comeback. They go on this crazy long drive, and then they miss the extra point. And that's exactly what it was like. It was like they were this close, but every time they were this close, they would wind up losing the game. Year 2, lose to Florida State. Same thing. They were just this close. They could just never get it done. Last year, their defense was atrocious, and Nussmeier threw picks in big moments. That spelled out the whole season for them after they lost that USC game. Nussmeier did that over and over again. I think this is another example of what you see from LSU in week 1 is what you're going to get. And I don't think it means as much for Clemson. If Clemson loses, Clemson could still run the table, be 11-1, and they're going to be in the playoff. If LSU loses, they got this tough conference schedule ahead of them. They might miss the playoff with an 8 or a 9-3 record, but 2 of those losses were in the SEC, and one of them was to Clemson. You know what I'm saying? This is a big indicator of what it could be. And on an over and under example, I would take the under personally. I'm just not big on Nussmeier, and I'm not big on Brian Kelly, and I'm not big on that defense. I just think it's disaster. Who's your next team?
I mean, I guess I'll go ahead and go over Texas since we kind of got into it a little bit. It's kind of hard, especially with these teams like we're talking about. Like I went over more big teams. It seems like you went over more of those teams that like would be more logical to bet on, your Purdue's and stuff like that. I just did some big teams, and I have some little ones, but I'm just going to do Texas next because I kind of got into them already. So their win total on FanDuel is 9.5 wins. Now, you say, like, here's my thing, though. Like, a lot of people have them ranked as the number 1 overall team. Or number 2. You know what I mean? But they have 9.5 wins as their benchmark, either over or under. And I kind of agree. I mean, at the end of the day, like I said, Vegas and casinos always win. So if you start looking at a team, you're like, oh, they're ranked number 1. Well, go look what Vegas has them as. Because here's my thing. So week 1, Texas plays Ohio State at Ohio State. It doesn't matter. I don't want that game to be at noon. It is what it is. I can't do nothing about it. But that place is going to be rocking. I mean, it's the first game of the season. It's against Texas. It's probably going to be like 1 versus 2 or 2 versus 3 or however they decide to do that by the time the season rolls around. So, I mean, that's a very losable game. I'm not going to jinx my team and say they're definitely losing that game, but that's a very losable game for Texas. Then they play San Jose State, UTEP, Sam Houston, all wins. And then they play Florida at Florida on October 4th in the Swamp. I said with the toughest places to play, I said Florida was a little overrated in how hard it was. But I think that's because they haven't been very good the last couple of years. Mm-hmm. I feel like DJ Lagway is going to be an absolute video game type player this year. And at the end of the day, what is the old saying? Offense sells tickets, defense wins championships. I feel like the Swamp is going to be absolutely rocking, especially if Florida is undefeated going into that game. I don't have their schedule pulled up, so I don't know how tough their schedule is starting off. But if Florida's undefeated going into that game, I mean, that's a losable game for Texas right there. So that's two very losable games. And then the very next week, they have the Red River rivalry.
Mm-hmm.
And I have Oklahoma too. I mean, I'm just going to kind of go in order, but Oklahoma doesn't have, I mean, they play Michigan, but it's at home. And they play Auburn, which it's at home. They don't have any hard games on the road until they play Texas. Here's my thing. Red River rivalry. Oklahoma's undefeated, and Texas has 3 losses. Who would have wrote that in a scorecard and booked it?
Not me, for sure. Not based
No,
on
not me either. Until I started looking at the schedule and I really started looking into it, I'm like, dang, that would not be the team that I would say could have 1 to 3 losses going into that game. I would have picked Oklahoma just because everybody talks about how tough their schedule is, which I'll get into them in a little bit. Their schedule's, kind of backloaded. But, I mean, and then after the Oklahoma game for Texas, I mean, they go to Georgia November 15th, and then they have Texas A&M at home. But the thing is Texas A&M is an in-state school too, so it's not like they're not going to show up.
Mm-hmm. No, that's a big rivalry. That Texas A&M rivalry is a cutthroat. Texas A&M hates them probably more than they hate Satan. So
yeah, and they play big bad. They play big bad Vanderbilt too. Yeah,
Diego Pavia. Good God, Diego Pavia.
Oh, I'm so glad. Oh man.
Another team I was kind of looking at was Wisconsin. As y'all know, they hired, what's his name? He was the Cincinnati coach. I can't think of his name. Luke Fickell.
Yeah,
Luke Fickell. They've had Luke Fickell, and they've had the Big Ten is treating them super bad. They just had a rough go at it as far as their schedule. Their win-loss total is set at 5.5. And just tell me where you see 6 wins on this. They got Miami of Ohio. That's 1. Middle Tennessee. Okay, then they go to Alabama.
Nope.
Then they host Maryland, so that might be a win. Then they go to the Big House. They play Michigan.
Nope.
They host Iowa. They host Ohio State. They go to Oregon. They host Washington. They go to Indiana. They host Illinois, and then they go on the road to Minnesota. I just don't see 6 wins in that schedule.
I have 4. I like Luke Fickell. I think a lot of it's because he was an Ohio State person. What'd you say their win total was? 5.5?
5.5.
I have them at 4. So I don't.
That's 2 games under.
Yeah, I don't see them. No, I don't see them getting 6 wins personally. I mean, I haven't dug too deep into them, so I don't know really what their roster's like. I know last year, didn't they have Tyler Van Dyke for like his 15th year in college or something?
Yeah, they had him for 2 games, and then an Alabama outside linebacker speared him, and you never saw him again.
Yeah, and I mean, they weren't a bad team. When he was still in the game, when they were playing Alabama, they kind of held him kind of close. But I don't know. I mean, I don't see them getting 6 wins personally. No,
I don't either. So if I was looking at that, that would be a team that I would bet the under on personally. So so far, I know I've been super negative. Besides on Purdue, so yeah, I just don't know, man. I like the unders. I like betting on negativity and misery. If I'm gonna have to be miserable, everyone is.
Yeah.
Who was another team that you were kind of looking at?
I mean, Oklahoma. I mean, I'm really high on Oklahoma. And, if you go back and watch our SEC show, I was super high on Oklahoma. But then kind of like Mason, when we were doing all those shows, I even said it in the SEC one. Like, we did a 2.5-hour show, it felt like. I think it was about 2.5 hours. And, like, we have so many teams that we got to cover. We're kind of flying through them and kind of looking at rosters and doing as much as we can. And I looked at the schedule a little bit, but, I mean, Oklahoma does have a tough schedule. They start off with Illinois State, nobody. Then they have Michigan at home. I know we've kind of talked, Mason. You're kind of high on Michigan. I'm not so high on Michigan. I feel like Oklahoma wins that game. Their win-loss total is – this is why I like them. I would bet the over on their season. It's 6.5 wins. So you can kind of tally them up for me as I go through this and tell me if you get 6.5 wins. Illinois State win. Michigan, I'm saying it's a win. Temple win. Auburn at home, a close game. I think they're winning, personally. That's just me. So that's 4 wins. Then they play Kent State. That's 5 wins for me. I mean, screw it. I got to die on the hill. They're playing Texas in the Red River Shootout. That's 6 wins right there for me personally. Then they go to South Carolina. I think they dropped that game. They play Ole Miss. That's a win to me. They go to Tennessee. I feel like they're going to try to really get some get back on Tennessee. That's a win for me. They go to Alabama. That's a toss-up game for me. I don't think they win it, but I'm not fully sold that they lose it either. Then they have Missouri at home and then LSU at home. I have them winning both of those games. So really, I mean, I have them winning 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I mean, on the high end, 11 wins.
I have them winning 8 games.
Yeah. So like I said, that's one of my teams that I've been super high on. So like to me, this is how I am. If you continue to watch our show or if you know me in person, I'm gonna die about some hills. You will not catch me telling you, hey, you know what? I made a mistake I might not tell you I made a mistake on Oklahoma until next year at New Year's. That will be my New Year's resolution. But
don't be big on Brent Venables again.
Hey, I think he's finally going to get some stuff figured out. He's got a defense figured out, brought in an offensive coordinator that's really good. His quarterback and his offensive coordinator came from the same place. I think they're really slept on, and I think these teams like Ole Miss, Tennessee, Alabama, maybe even Texas and Auburn, I feel like they're going to kind of sleep on them.
Well, and I mean, to be honest with you, everyone in our chat's hating on Oklahoma right now. 2 years ago, they won 10 games. Now, it was in the Big 12, but it's not like Brent Venables is incapable of winning games. He also won 2 national championships at Clemson as a defensive coordinator. He's not a bad football coach.
No, and I think a lot of people don't give him the time that he needs. You got to think about it. When Lincoln Riley left, he gutted that program. And then Brent Venables came in, and it's kind of like the Kirby Smart path. You remember when Kirby Smart and even Ryan Day now, like you remember, he can't get the big ones done. He can't win good games. He can't win big games. He just can't cap over that hump. Now, it's a little different. His hump's at like 6.5, 7 wins, while there was like national championship or bust type seasons.
He won 10 games.
Exactly. That's what I mean. Like, I feel like last year was one of those things they kind of put some money in on a quarterback that they shouldn't have. They thought he was going to be really good. He got hit like a deer in headlights, and it just kind of folded. Because if you really go back and watch Oklahoma and look at their schedules and stuff, they had a tough schedule last year, but their defense was rock solid. Yeah, it was their offense. It was their offense that's a problem. And the guy that they're bringing in, Heisman dark horse to me, I think that kid's going to be an absolute freak show, especially since he's getting paired back up with his offensive coordinator. I think he had like 45 total touchdowns last year at Washington State. Now, like I said, it's not the same conference, but when somebody's a baller like that, I mean, you got to give them some respect. It doesn't matter what conference they play in.
Yeah, Mateer is definitely that guy. So I'm going to have to eat some crow on some teams. You already kind of mentioned it. So whenever we went over the Big Ten, I went over why I thought Michigan was going to be terrible and blah, 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 blah. I went over this big whole thing about why I thought Michigan wasn't going to be good. I think I was letting the Ohio State co-host get to me a little bit. I'm kind of going back on that a little bit because if you look at Michigan's been able to make games ugly. And if you really think about it, they won 7, 8 games, something like that last year with no passing game, right? So even in a situation that Bryce Underwood does not play, their other quarterback has to be better than Orgy, whatever his name was. I know his last name was Orgy because Gus Johnson. It's an orgy in the end zone.
Yeah.
Which was crazy.
God,
but,
oh my
God. But
I think Pat McAfee said something like, "Who doesn't love a good orgy touchdown?"
Yeah.
I'm just like,
gee. So surely their team is going to be better at throwing the ball, even if it's just a little bit. That'll help. And they returned a lot on their defense. And Michigan's going to be able to run the ball. It's a Michigan staple for the last 108 years or however long they've been playing football. So I'm gonna have to eat a little bit of crow on that. I'm still not gonna pick Michigan to win the national championship or even make the playoff, but I don't think that they're gonna be this 6-win team. I don't think it's gonna be miserable. I don't think if they beat Ohio State, it's gonna be this big shocking thing like it felt like last year. Or even 2 years ago, whenever they won 11 games and beat Ohio, or 3 years ago, whatever it was. I don't think it's going to be this big, shocking, just terrible. Oh my God, Michigan did it again. I think Michigan's going to be a good football team, and they don't have a schedule that is really too crazy. They do play Oklahoma, like we talked about, play Ohio State at the end of the year. They don't play Penn State. I think they play Oregon. I think.
Yeah, I think they do.
So I mean, it's a Big Ten schedule, so you're going to play some big dogs. But I think for the most part, it's a workable schedule. They play USC. I think I think it's going to be a good year, and I don't think anything's going to happen to their coach. I think if Michigan does look disappointing, it's going to be in those 2 weeks that he is not there. Whenever they play Oklahoma and Nebraska, but other than that, I think it's going to be a pretty good year for Michigan. Do you have anything you want to go back on?
I don't want to talk about them. I'm kind of over them. I mean, yeah, I don't have anything to say about
them. Another team that I really dogged and I really didn't give a great breakdown for because I was emotional and it was just a bad time. I'd read some bad news and I was just feeling really sorry for myself. Was the Arkansas Razorbacks?
Well, I didn't help that either because I'm super low on the Razorbacks.
I think I was, if you really think about it, okay, Pittman year after year loses a lot of talent. That Madden Lama thing just happened. Talon is just up and down in my brain, but I really thought about it, right? We don't have a terrible conference schedule. Now, we do play Notre Dame. We do play at Memphis, which is a weird game. But it's going to be Talon Green year 2 under Bobby Petrino. That should be an improvement, regardless of whatever you think about Talon Green. If you think he's terrible, okay. If you think he's great, you're also wrong. I think year 2 under Bobby Petrino, he's going to improve. And really our biggest question mark coming into the season is going to be receiver, right? And we're a team that's going to want to run the ball anyways. Our defense is returning a little bit. Travis Williams is a great defensive coordinator. He gets talent in the door, and he gets them motivated. They play hard for him. And surely Pittman has figured out clock management and just game situations by now. Fingers crossed. I'm begging for him to play a little Madden, figure it out. But I just feel like I gave him the short end of the stick because I was mad at him. I was emotional. I do feel like Arkansas is going to win 6-7 games. I don't think it's going to be an impressive 6-7 games. I don't think it's going to be I think it's going to be just like it was last year. I think it's going to be the exact same thing. I just don't think we're going to win 3 games. And
here's my question: where the heck are you getting 6 or 7 games from?
Look at our schedule last year; it's the exact same thing.
I just don't. I don't think you beat Auburn last year, right? You're not beating Auburn this year.
Okay.
You play Mississippi State. Think you're beating Mississippi State.
Yeah.
So, you have their schedule pulled up or no?
No, but I can kind of rattle it off to you. It's the exact same one as last year. I mean, I can't rattle it off, but
I know you got. I know you got
nobody.
You got nobody, Memphis.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to be, I'm saying Memphis.
Or we got Ole Miss and then Memphis and then Notre Dame.
So that's 3 wins.
We're beating Ole Miss. We're beating Ole Miss in Oxford. I'm calling it right now. Calling the shot. Lane Train's going down.
Okay, so that's 4 wins. I'll give you 4. And then to me, your only other one's like Mississippi State. I mean,
we're gonna beat Mississippi State without a doubt.
Yeah.
You don't think we stand any chance of going to Neyland and beat Tennessee again?
No.
Tennessee hasn't beat us in years. Tennessee hasn't beat us in years.
I think too many people are looking over Tennessee because Amalieva left.
They also lost a lot on their D-line. Their defenses are never great. And the way we always beat a Tennessee team is the same way we beat them last year. We rush the passer and we run the ball. Nothing's going to change with that. That's going to be the exact
like I said. I'm super low on the Hogs. I just don't. I think their out of conference schedule doesn't help them because you got to think. I'm not saying they're going to lose to Arkansas State by no means, but that game is going to be Arkansas State's Super Bowl.
Oh, and to say that game's going to be close, you're not out of question with. I mean, yeah, it's going to be close. We're going to. Okay, that's going to be a game that I'm going to be embarrassed that we played.
Yeah, I think Memphis is going to beat them.
I think we're gonna handle Memphis easily.
No, I do not think so. I don't think so.
And that's fine, and it's okay because a lot of people are low on the Hogs this year. Just as someone that keeps up with them and kind of knows what's going on, I just don't think that there's a way we only win 3 games. Now, do I think that that's impressive? And am I like 6-6? Let's go, go Hogs, whoa pig? No, I'm disappointed with that. I hate 6-6. I hate 7-5. I hate 5-7. But that's just our reality, and that's okay. What I do think that we are going to improve. I think we're going to improve. I think Taylor Green's going to get better, and it's going to make the offense better. And I think our defense is going to be similar to what it was last year. Hopefully, it's a little more consistent. That's all I ask. And I think that 6 wins is not off the table at all.
Hey, listen. We're just going to have to agree to disagree.
Well, hopefully Arkansas is real good. Hopefully Arkansas wins 12 games, and we don't even have to think about Ohio State, Michigan, Alabama, whoever. Hopefully we don't have to think about any of them. Hopefully the Hogs just run through the table.
Yeah, I hope so. Hey, here's another team. I don't think we were low on them, but I think a lot of people kind of think that they're kind of like that Boise State or – I mean, I don't want to say SMU because I think SMU is going to be decent this year too, but a lot of people are kind of just writing off Arizona State, and I think they're going to be pretty good again.
Well, okay, so some people are low on them because they lost Scatterboo. They are the odds-on favorite to win the conference, I think.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they are. They're projected 8.5 wins. I'm trying to see if there's Iowa State's usually pretty good. They're at 7.5 wins. I see everybody else is at Kansas State's at 8.5 wins. I don't see anybody else up there. Texas Tech's at 8.5 wins. I'm not going to talk about them, but I'm really high on Texas Tech too. If we have some time at the end of the show, I might kind of blow through them. There's kind of one of those teams, have a lot of money. They brought in a big transfer portal class, and they kind of had some pieces returning. But on Arizona State, they're projected 8.5 wins, and I think they could win more than that, honestly. I mean, I know I'm about to talk about a conference that a lot of people don't know, but they play Northern Arizona win. They play Mississippi State. To me, that's a win. They play Texas State win. They play Baylor win. TCU win. Utah, that's always a throw-up game because it is the Big 12. Like every team beats every team. So let's just say that's a loss. Then they play Texas Tech. That's a throw-up game. I'll give them 1-1 versus Utah and Texas Tech. So that's 6 wins. Then they play Houston, 7 wins. Iowa State, that's always a crazy game. West Virginia, Colorado, and Arizona at the end of the season. I mean, I see them getting 9, 10, 11 wins, honestly.
Yeah, and they should. I mean, in theory, they're returning their quarterback.
They're returning receivers.
They're returning their receivers. Their head coach has got a lot of momentum. They're kind of the biggest brand really in that conference. I mean, just based on who you see in the media. My only thing with A-State is outside of some like crazy Superman runs and I think their defense was a lot better than people realized last year. they won a lot of close games, right?
Yeah,
And
they did.
And they kind of lost their leader. They lost their juice. And a team like BYU returns a lot. So like, I know this isn't on the over under thing, but like, I just don't see them beating a Texas Tech or a BYU or an Iowa State because all of those teams return more, and this is a conference that's so unstable and crazy stuff happens in the Big 12. Any kind of stability, in my opinion, is a good thing, and I just don't see that from Arizona State this year without Cam and I really just wasn't that impressed with their quarterback. I mean, I know he played decent, but I just in those games I just was not that impressed with him.
That's understandable. I like their head coach too a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I like their head
Kenny
coach.
Dillingham.
Yeah, Dillingham. I like him a lot. And I mean, I do like their quarterback. I don't think he was great, but I think, as you can tell, I'm kind of high on him, I guess, just because of what that conference is. It's like I'm high on them and I'm high on Texas Tech. They end up playing each other. I feel like that's going to be one of those games that's going to determine what that conference ends up being.
My only thing with Kenny Dillingham is he just reminds me so much of Dorkwitz.
Yeah.
Like, if he was in Missouri, they'd be like the same person. It's just every time I look at him, I'm like, oh, it just reminds me so much of Drink. Let's kind of get into Texas Tech. We got a little time here.
Yeah,
we're under an hour still, so
I got their schedule pulled up. If you want to, I'll rattle off their schedule. If you tell me it's 8.5 wins, I think.
Yeah, go ahead. I'll just jump in whenever I find it here. Oh yeah, it's 8.5.
Yeah, so they play Arkansas Pine Bluff, win. Kent State, win. Oregon State over there in the Pac-12 with them and one other school, that's a win. They play Utah.
Oof. Well, they'll beat Utah.
Yeah, Utah, that's 4 wins. Houston, that's 5 wins. Kansas, 6 wins. And then they go to Arizona State. So you have it as a win, I have it as a loss. And then after Arizona State, they have Oklahoma State at home. They go to Kansas State. They have BYU at home, UCF at home, and then they go to West Virginia.
I don't like that schedule for them because right there, like, they're going to play the top cream of that conference right there in the same 4 weeks.
Yeah.
I mean, and in theory, Texas Tech should be top of that cream of the. I mean, they should be up there. I mean, they spent reportedly $50 million is what I heard today on their roster. I don't know if that's true. That sounds unrealistic, but if that is in the realm, they should be really good. They have one of the top portal classes. I think they're returning their quarterback, if I'm not mistaken. Their coach, Rhett Lashley might be his name. They got a lot of juice, but that schedule doesn't play out well for them. I mean, I think BYU is going to be a really good team. I think Arizona State's going to be good. I don't know.
Kansas
State's going to be the real tough one, I think.
Yeah, and it's at Kansas State. Luckily, like, they have BYU. I mean, they have BYU at home. That's a big one. But, like, they have Arizona. They go to Arizona State. Then they have Oklahoma State at home. And then they go to Kansas State. So they don't really have, like, and I want to say, yeah, October 18th. Yeah, and there's no buys in between there.
Well, and no one really talks about this a whole lot, but Gundy is kind of a weird coach at Oklahoma State. They're a team that like sneaks up on everyone and just winds up being good, and you just never thought about it. So that could be a tough one too. We'll know more obviously as we get into it.
What's his name left, didn't he? Who was that running back? He left, didn't he?
Yeah, maybe. I haven't looked into Oklahoma State, to be honest with you.
I haven't either. I just remember last year everybody was acting like he was like the Ashton Jeanty, but then he ended up not doing anything. So I didn't know if he left or if he came back.
It was a weird thing because he had a really good 2023, and they returned all their offensive linemen and their quarterback and Ollie Gordon and all this stuff, and he just was not what everyone thought he was going to be. It was a really weird thing. I think he's in the NFL.
He is. He left. Yeah, he's in the NFL. He's for the Miami. He plays for the Miami Dolphins.
I think he's a good back. I don't know what happened with him last year.
I don't either.
But that's all I got, really.
You know what, Mason? You said that's all you got?
That's all I got. You can go ahead.
I'm going to go over one more team just because the last time we went over this team, I was really low on them and it kind of got some people all flustered up. The Miami Hurricanes, they're at 9.5 wins, which is, I think, is absolutely astronomical. If you take one thing that me and Mason said today and you bet on it, go bet. How much, Joe? Go bet your freaking house on it that Miami is not winning 9.5 games. And I think me and Mason have agreed on some things, but most teams that we talked about today, me and Mason disagreed on, which makes for a good show. But I think me and Mason will both agree on this team. I think Miami is wildly overrated. I think they're going to be a decent team, but 9.5 wins is a little crazy, especially if you look at their schedule. So, Mason, they start off with Notre Dame. That's a loss.
Let's just count the losses instead of the wins.
Yeah, that's a loss. They play Florida. Loss. I mean, really, their schedule. It's not that their schedule is hard. It's just it's Miami, and I don't trust Carson Beck. So
do they play Louisville?
Let me see. No, they don't play Louisville.
They might win 10 games off of pure. Just their schedule's terrible. They probably host Cal. They probably play
Let me
Florida
go through
State.
the whole schedule for you because I'm low on them. Here's my thing: if they win 10 games and they make it to the college football playoff, I think they're going to get dog walked by anybody else that makes it in there. So they play Notre Dame, loss. They play BCU, win. They play Southern Florida, win. They play Florida. That's a loss. They play at Florida State. That's the game that I think could sneak up on them and get them. I think Carson Beck could have 3 or 4 interceptions. I'm going to say that's a loss. They do play Louisville. That's my bad. They do play Louisville, but it's at home. I'm going to say that's a loss. That's their 3 losses.
Playing at Hard Rock's like playing in someone's backyard. That sucker has no.
That's what I'm saying. So they play Louisville, then they play Stanford at home. Then they go to SMU. That's a big time change. We've talked about time changes before. I say they lose that game too. Then they have Syracuse at home. Then they play NC State at home. Then they go to Virginia Tech. The Inner Sandman. I think the Inner Sandman could get them.
Well, and I think Virginia Tech's going to be an improved team. I mean, last year they kind of disappointed, but they kind of came on near the end of the year. I think Virginia Tech could be a good team this year. And if I was Miami, that's not a schedule that terrifies you. As an Arkansas fan, I'd be like, yeah, sign me up. Whatever. But as a Miami fan, your team, your quarterback had a surgery that in baseball takes like 16 months to recover from.
And the thing is like he wasn't even that good last year.
No, he was terrible. In the year he was good, he was throwing to Ladd McConkey and Brock Bowers. I don't know if y'all paid attention at all. If you live in a cave, those 2 guys are playing on Sundays. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he had a great team around him. Carson Beck's never been impressive to me. Going to Miami and playing with Mario Cristobal with a team that had Cam Ward, the number 1 overall pick, and you think you're going to improve? I mean, this is a little diss to the people that were talking crap to us on TikTok. There's just no way you think that your team that is going to take a step forward after your team last year could not make the playoff with the number 1 overall pick. He probably should have won the Heisman.
I mean, in all honesty, like, yeah. I mean, really, I don't think you can keep it away from Travis Hunter, but I'm with you. Like, he had a crazy season, but I'm kind of with you, dude. Like, all these Miami fans that think they're going to get better, I don't think they get better.
No, there's no way they get better.
No, and then they end the year with Pitt.
Pat Narduzzi?
Yeah, so to me, that's 1 loss, 2 loss. I'll give them a split for Florida State and Louisville, so that's 3 losses. I think
you're already at the under right there. You just hit the under.
Yeah, exactly. And then they play SMU and Virginia Tech. That's 5 losses to me.
And even if they beat Virginia Tech and they beat SMU, that's still 3 losses. I mean, in a 3-loss ACC team that doesn't win the conference championship will never make the playoff. Ever.
No,
will never make the playoff.
Never. Not. And like I said, you know what? This can be the clip that we add. We'll go from here on. I think Miami Hurricanes lose 5 games this year, and it's going to be Notre Dame, Florida, Florida State, Louisville, and Virginia Tech or SMU. One of those. They could lose 6 games. So I think the Miami Hurricanes are going to go 0-2 in the state of Florida. How about that?
I love it.
I don't know why, dude. I just kind of hate them.
Honestly, I was indifferent on Miami, right? I thought it was kind of a consensus that they were going to regress a little bit, and last year was really their year. And then we got some jackass in our TikTok comment that was saying he thought he was roasting us, and he was just saying these ludicrous things like Carson Beck's a better quarterback than Cam Ward, which is, if you have eyes and ears and you know anything about organized sports, you can see that that's not true.
Yeah, like I don't think I hate Miami. I think I just don't like their fans.
Yes, me either.
I mean, they're
like
a lot.
Yankees fans. Yo, you like Miami and the Yankees and the Lakers and probably the Florida Panthers and hockey and
Patriots, all of them.
Yeah.
I'm super low on Miami. I mean, if you want me to get to the end of the topic, I'm super low on Miami.
Me too. That's about all I got. I feel like it was a good show. Guys, please, please, please like us on Facebook or on Instagram, or follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter, follow us on TikTok, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Shout us out, share us, whatever you got to do. We would appreciate it a lot. We're going to keep trying to get better. We're going to try to keep live streaming. I really enjoyed being able to read the chat. We will be able to hopefully get this thing just streamlined to where it's effortless and fun. Because right now it's a lot of fun for us, but we want to have a community and we want to have it fun for everybody. So we do appreciate it a lot, guys. Justin, do you have anything to say to the people before we end this sucker?
I mean, not really. Just like and subscribe and kind of, let us know what you would like us to talk about. I think we say it every show, and me and Mason do a good job of kind of coming up with topics, but don't ever feel like, because I mean, me and Mason watch a lot of podcasts. Some of them we watch live, some of them we watch over, and you kind of get that nervous feeling of I don't want to comment and somebody think what I'm saying is stupid or whatever. But right now, we're still a building show. So comment, get your thoughts out there, become one of those people that we can count on. Oh, I know if our show runs short today, this person or that person is going to give us some comments or some feedbacks, and let us know what you're thinking about. Let us know what you want us to talk about. Let us know what you'd like to hear, because I mean, college football is for every one of us. Me and Mason aren't famous yet, so ask us what you want to talk to us about, and we'll talk about it. I think next show we'll talk about something. I'm hoping that some rankings come out for the college football game. Give us some more stuff to talk about. Other than that, man, really just like and subscribe. Like the video mainly. Most of you are probably already subscribed if you're watching it live, because you got the notification. Turn your notifications on too, because I mean, we're doing our life just like everybody else. I'm sure here in the next 3 to 4 weeks, me and Mason might have to go live at 6 o'clock or go live at 8 o'clock. So make sure you turn your notifications on, and the boost us up. So if you get on YouTube and you'll start scrolling and you'll see random videos on your For You page on YouTube, that's what likes do. So if you like it, it's going to boost that into random people's For You page on YouTube, and that's what's going to get us really out there. That and word of mouth and sharing us when you can.
Justin, real quick, we got a question on the YouTube chat. Who's your number 1 pick for Heisman?
Oh, crap. Okay, hang on. Let me think, because that's tough.
I got mine. I got mine already prepared. I'll go over mine while you are thinking.
You can go ahead.
LaNorris Sellers. LaNorris Sellers. LaNorris Sellers. He is the most electric player in college football. Every time he's on the football field, it is a must-watch game. I don't care if they're playing the special school in Choctaw, Arkansas. If LaNorris Sellers is on that field, tune in and watch it. He's my pick for the Heisman. South Carolina Gamecocks are going to the playoff. What do you got,
agree.
Justin?
So I'm really torn in between two. I'm going to start off with my first one, and then I'm just going to give the fan take that I think everybody's kind of expecting me to go with. I really, really, and you said his name, or it's John Mater at Oklahoma. I really like, there's something about him, what he did last year. He's got his offensive coordinator coming with him. They run that Washington State offense, and if you don't remember, this is the same offensive coordinator that was coaching Cam Ward. So, like, this kid puts up stats. I'm not saying they're the same player, but I feel like he's just an electric guy. He's dual threat, but he throws first, just kind of that. I don't know enough about him. I haven't watched any games. I need to watch some games because I've been talking about this guy for 3 weeks. I need to watch some highlights of him. But I would say he's one of my picks. I mean, honestly, man, I don't think it would be right if I didn't mention my guy, Jeremiah Smith. I mean, if you've seen what he did, not just in the playoffs, but if you've seen what he did in the conference games, like if you want to go watch a Jeremiah Smith highlight, go watch him play against Michigan State. And there's going to be 2 highlights on there that you're just like, holy crap, those are catches. They're back-to-back catches. He did one, and then he did the next one. The dude is an absolute freak show. He's 6'4", 230. He had 1,300 yards and like 13 touchdowns as a freshman. My only thing is the reason why I didn't put him as my overall Heisman winner like you were with LaNorris Sellers is because with a receiver to win Heisman, the last one to do it, besides Travis Hunter, which he kind of won more just because he was –
He don't count.
Exactly. He played both sides, but was –
Devonta Smith.
Yeah, Devonta Smith. But the thing is with him is like he was the only receiver on that team. If you remember, Waddle got hurt. So he was the only receiver on that team, and he just got fed the ball. So I don't know how much Jeremiah Smith is going to be fed the ball for one. And for two, like that was really Devonta Smith's first year to come out. Like he had a good year previously. He caught that game-winning touchdown against Georgia in the national championship, but it wasn't like this Jeremiah Smith year. So I don't know how defenses are going to play against him.
Yeah, that's a good question. We'll know a lot about how the defenses are going to play him week 1, fortunately for us.
Oh yeah, for sure. But that's my 2. I mean, honestly, that's my 2. I really like John Mater a lot. Like the more I talk about him, I haven't even watched film on him, but just like knowing kind of what he's going into with Oklahoma, I feel like Brett Venables is going to give that offensive coordinator the free rein. And it's going to be, I mean, I think it's going to be fun to watch.
But guys, thank y'all so much for tuning in. We really do appreciate it. I can't tell y'all how much it means to me. Also, thank y'all for commenting and being involved. It really made the show flow to me a lot easier. I might have been checking it a little bit too much just from the excitement. But we do appreciate it, guys. This was 3 Deep South. I don't even know how many episodes it was. Tune in next week. Same time, same place. Don't know what we're going to talk about yet. We'll figure that out. Thank y'all, guys.